To a big Thursday show. It's the most motivating segment in all sports. It's the Bud List.
Yes.
It's also the time, Nick, as you know, where we read some viewer mail.
Yeah.
We got another letter here today.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Huh.
Thank you for the letter writing.
Oh, there's one of the handwritten ones.
Well,
sometimes they're typed. Sometimes,
Can you
yeah.
read
Depends.
that? From a very small child.
The handwriting looks familiar, to be 100% honest with you. Dear Wilds, love the show. Thank you. We ordered our Bud List home game. We love it. But are there more parts? Did we get all of it? I believe in you. Sincerely, Ryan and Brian. Well, Ryan and Brian, we got this a lot. Because I think people were expecting a lot of
bells and whistles.
A lot of bells and whistles. But one of the key parts about the Bud List home game, when you look into it, it's really just a piece of paper and a pen. And the onus is on you. And a lot of people say, well, that's too much for the buyer to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's the difference, because here at First Things First, we believe it. So, enjoy the game, Ryan and Brian.
You write yourself motivational phrases.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
I think
read them
maybe we
every
should
day.
have kept that under wraps until we sold out fully.
They're moving.
Great
All
profit
right,
margin.
let's get to
Yeah,
it.
let's get
At
to it.
number 3, Knicks man Joel Embiid.
Oh.
Now, Joel Embiid has not been quiet about wanting to win an MVP award, and he's certainly playing at an MVP level. He's been great. And he demolished the guy that it looks like is going to win the MVP, Nikola Jokic, for the 3rd straight year. Embiid ate him up head-to-head. So, Joel, control what you can control. You might not be able to control the MVP situation, but you can control the NBA title situation, all right? And you haven't yet even been to the conference finals. So, Joel Embiid, you're playing with a great point guard. James Harden, when he wants to be a point guard, is phenomenal. He's playing well. Regardless of what you think about Doc Rivers, he is an all-time top 15 coach officially, okay? He is officially. He's on the list, all right? You got other scores in Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris. And as Nick said earlier, a 6th-ranked defense in the NBA. So what's the excuse?
Yeah.
There is no excuse to go deep in the playoffs, if not to the finals, Joel. You got to stay healthy, and he's already talked about a foot ailment. But I saw you out there Sunday night in the All-Star game, so I don't really want to hear about the foot ailment anymore. Go out there and play. And the Sixers do have the toughest remaining schedule in the league. You'd like to get that number 1 seed so you don't have to beat Milwaukee and Boston in the same postseason. So, Joel, I do believe in you.
Yes.
Go out there and get it done. At number 2, if you saw the last segment, you know this brother needs some motivation. Russell Westbrook. Russ, they don't believe. I'm the only one on this set who believes in you. And I got to be honest. I got to be objective. You've been on 5 teams in 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
It's the 5th team you've been on. And the previous 4 all started saying, we want Russ to be Russ. All right? Russ is going to help us. The previous 4, some of them you had a great childhood friend, James Harden. And then they all ended with the other team thinking, we're better off without Russ. All right? So you have a chance, Russ, to change the narrative. You have a chance to make people say, you know what? In Houston, it wasn't Russ. It was James Harden. You have a chance to make him say in Washington, he just didn't have enough help. You have a chance to make him say in L.A., it wasn't just Russ. AD was never healthy. LeBron, it's hard to play with him. You can change the narrative. If you go to the Clippers and contribute to a deep playoff run, heck, maybe even to the finals, it would change the way people view you, Russ. I believe in you. At number 1, all right, Anthony Davis. We stay in L.A. Anthony, it wasn't Russ. It certainly wasn't LeBron James. Wasn't Darvin Ham or Frank Vogel. It's you! It's the fact that you don't stay healthy, or when you do, 70% of the time you don't play up to your potential, or lately, you're sulking. All right, Anthony Davis, you are one of the best players in the world when you put your mind to it. And that does mean playing through some pain, some aches. All right, you have a chance to do something special over these next few months. I believe that you can do it. Here's what I want you to do. Take the torch. LeBron is begging you to take the torch. Anthony, go take this torch from LeBron James. Lead the Lakers into the play-in. Lead them through the play-in. And if you get through the play-in, I think you'll be a dangerous team because you'd have some momentum. It likely means you have taken the torch. LeBron's the second guy now, and y'all got a good supporting cast. So, Anthony Davis, I do believe in you. Go ahead and get it done.
Excellent. Well done. Great list.
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, it was a good list. A little bit disappointing. Well, you know, a little heavy NBA. Onto that part. And you know how much I like Russell Westbrook. I wore the jersey into work today.
Yeah.
So for you to say that nobody else on the desk believes
Yes, Coach, you're right.
I mean, that is a little untrue. But let's shift gears here. And I'm going to let you guess who I put on the Bud list. I've got a quote that you guys can read and you guys can try to decipher. Let's look at that first quote there. It's on me to be physically, mentally, and emotionally ready for whatever is to come. Training is everything. Kevin?
Ooh. Well, I know the second one. I don't recognize the first one.
Well, the first one belongs to the second one as well. Consistency and re-earn the respect through work. I'm going with Mac Jones.
I like it, Coach.
I'm going with Mac Jones, and if we could pull up his workout video.
Yes.
You know, I love a guy that puts a bunch of workout videos on the internet. I love a guy that does a ton of endorsements in the off season, whether it's for your shoes or the local bank or maybe the donut place or all those different places. I love those things. I think that's really important. But here's why he's on the list. He's got an offensive coordinator, a legitimate offensive coordinator, so that excuse is off the table. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing, it's not the sophomore slump. We're through the sophomore year, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes guys can regress in that second year, but we're over that. And now the final thing is your only competition is Bailey Zappi, and look, there's rumblings that he may be pushing you, but it's not like you've got a veteran guy, that's a serious, ingrained threat there. It's a different type of threat. Now, that being said, free agency is coming up, and the draft is coming up, and you better prove to the organization that you're the guy, because Bill's not opposed to drafting quarterbacks. He's drafted 11 of them. He's drafted guys as high as the second round, the third round. You've got to make sure that you're ingrained, and these workout videos are paying off, and they believe that you're actually the guy.
But you do believe in him, correct? That's how we end the segment.
This is a motivational segment.
I know. You point at the camera and say, I believe in him.
You didn't say that you had to believe in him. You just said it's a motivational segment.
But you believe in him, right?
I like it.
Is it motivational, or do I have to say I believe in him?
That was motivational. I think Wilds needs some motivation after that.
Well, I believe in him.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
believe in him.
I'm going to go back to hoops.
Shocking.
It has to be Nikola Jokic.
Oh.
We used to live in a civilized sports world where you didn't have to be the best player in the league. You didn't have to win championships to win an MVP. It's like, hey, that's a great player at a great season. Let's give him one. Charles Barkley, come on down. David Robinson, come on down. Kevin Garnett, Steve Nash, come on down twice because you're small and cute and fancy. Karl Malone, come on down a couple times. We go down the list. There's Allen Iverson, great career. And then it's like, okay, but now we need to see you do it in the postseason, and then you can win some more. Instead, Nikola Jokic's postseasons have gone like this. He made a conference finals, and it was the best player on his team. And then the year after, he got swept in round 2, and he won the MVP. And then last year, he lost in round 1, and he won the MVP. And this year, Vegas says he is a minus 300 favorite to win a third straight MVP. They are the 1 seed. They are fully healthy. And yet all of the people who are saying he is a no-brainer MVP, when you're like, oh, by the way, who do you have winning the title? Like, well, not the Nuggets. Hey, let's be serious here. How could they win it? I don't know. They have one of the greatest players ever, I've been told. Box score plus minus says he actually is the greatest player of all time already. Has already passed Michael Jordan in that regard, according to that hallowed metric. So I simply would ask that we hold Nikola Jokic to the standard we have held 70 years of league MVPs, which is if you win more than 1, we expect you to get it done in the postseason. He's going to be at 3 in a row. With the 1 seed, he's going to need to get it done in the postseason.
Yeah, look, I'm with you in that I'd like to see him, justify these MVP awards with a championship. But Nick, he doesn't have a second All-Star. That's why nobody thinks he's going to win it. He doesn't have a second All-Star.
Okay.
That's fair.
I mean, that's what they're saying.
I am going back to football. I'm going to put the Raiders organization on the Bud list because when they let go of Derek Carr, I said, what's your plan here? I thought they were going to go through the offseason and then come to the realization that the best quarterback available's name was Derek Carr. But here's what the Raiders GM said recently. Take a listen.
At the end of the day, I'm in charge of myself and, our group. We're in charge of filling the most important position on the team. And so, yeah, there's some, there's some pressure that comes along with that. And however we fill it, it doesn't mean we're going to have an immediate answer, this year. You know what I mean? And so, but at the end of the day, we have to have an answer.
Yeah, someone's got to play quarterback. So CBS Sports put together a list. Andy Dalton, Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater, Taylor Heineke, Jacoby Brissett. Maybe it's Jimmy G.
I was going to say, where's Jimmy G?
Maybe. But when the GM of your team is saying, yeah, we need a quarterback, maybe it doesn't come this year, not great.
Maybe if you don't have an answer to that question, you pass on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Maybe if you're not ready to answer the quarterback question, you're like, you know what?
He didn't know they were going to ask him that.
Give me next time.
Coming up next, Ravens. Oh, here it is. Or get Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Just get Lamar. Then problem solved.
Hey.
Maybe I'm the fool. Next, first things first.